The day Earth's radio telescopes picked up the signal started like any other at the Global Space Communication Center. The massive dishes pointed at the stars, listening to the usual cosmic background noise. John West, the lead communications officer, was sipping his third cup of coffee when the computers started beeping frantically. "That's odd," he muttered, adjusting his headphones. The signal was unlike anything they had ever received before. It wasn't the random patterns of a pulsar or the rhythmic beats of a distant star. This was structured, organized, and definitely artificial. As John analyzed the signal pattern, his hands began to shake. After 20 years of searching the skies for signs of intelligent life, he was looking at humanity's first contact with an alien civilization. But something was wrong. The message carried clear signs of distress. Within hours, every major space agency on Earth had confirmed the signal. The message, once decoded, was both extraordinary and alarming. A vast fleet of alien ships was stranded in the outer reaches of our solar system, their advanced technology rendered useless by an unknown force. "We require immediate assistance," the translated message read. "Our fleet of 5,000 ships is trapped in your system's outer boundary. Life support systems are failing. We have enough resources to survive for approximately 72 Earth hours." The United Nations called an emergency session. World leaders gathered virtually as scientists presented their findings. Satellite data confirmed it. There were indeed thousands of massive objects clustered in the Kuiper Belt, far beyond Neptune's orbit. The alien ships were enormous, each one larger than Earth's biggest aircraft carriers. But they were dead in space, their once powerful engines silent. Only their basic communication systems still functioned, operating on principles simple enough to pierce through whatever was affecting their main systems. Dr. Anna Smith, head of NASA's Xenobiology Department, stood before the UN Security Council. "The aliens call themselves the Collective," she explained, pointing to the holographic display of their ships. "Their civilization spans multiple star systems, but they've never encountered anything like this before. Something in that region of space is disrupting their quantum-based technology." Military leaders argued for caution, but the aliens' plight left little time for debate. Humanity had to make a choice: help these unknown visitors or watch as millions of them perished in the cold void of space. The aliens' next transmission included visual data. They looked almost peaceful, tall, slender beings with iridescent skin that shifted colors as they moved. Their ambassador, who called himself Star, appeared on screens worldwide. "We come as friends," Star's translated voice echoed through the UN chamber. "Our sensors detected unusual energy signatures in this system, and we came to investigate. We never expected to be trapped. Our ship's quantum cores are completely inactive. Without them, we cannot maintain life support, artificial gravity, or propulsion." What happened next surprised the aliens more than anything else. Initial scans from Earth's space agencies revealed something extraordinary. While the advanced alien technology was useless, Earth's primitive spacecraft might be completely immune to the disruption field. As the world's governments debated their response, private messages flooded in from the stranded fleet. They contained technical specifications, life support requirements, and desperate pleas for help. The aliens had never imagined that they would need to rely on a civilization that had barely reached its own moon. The president of the World Space Coalition made humanity's response clear. "We will not stand idle while intelligent beings face extinction in our solar system. Every spacefaring nation on Earth pledges its full support to this rescue mission." Within hours, space centers worldwide hummed with activity. Old shuttles were pulled out of museums, rocket fuel production doubled, and every qualified pilot was put on alert. The greatest rescue mission in human history was about to begin. As the first rescue ships were being prepared, John West remained at his console, maintaining contact with the alien fleet. He couldn't help but smile at the irony. Humanity's outdated technology would be the key to saving one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. Star's final transmission that day carried a note of hope. Perhaps we were meant to find you. We called for help, expecting no answer from this remote system. Instead, we found beings whose ingenuity might be exactly what we need. The universe, it seems, has a sense of humor. The clock was ticking. Humanity had 3 days to save millions of alien lives, and they would do it not with quantum computers or faster-than-light drives, but with good old-fashioned human determination and engineering. Captain Tom Miller stood in the cockpit of Earth's lead rescue ship, the Perseverance, staring at the massive alien vessels through the reinforced glass window. Even from 10 kilometers away, their size was breathtaking. Each ship gleamed like polished silver in the dim sunlight that reached this far into space. I still can't believe we're flying toward them in what they probably consider a museum piece, Tom said to his co-pilot, Mike Rogers. The Perseverance was a modified space shuttle, pulled out of retirement and retrofitted for deep space travel in just 24 hours. Their radio crackled with Star's voice. Captain Miller, our scans show your vessel uses combustion engines and analog controls. The alien's tone carried a mix of disbelief and concern. That's right, Tom replied, checking his old-fashioned mechanical gauges. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways. He could almost hear the alien ambassador's confusion through the radio silence that followed. As they approached the nearest alien ship, their instruments confirmed what the aliens had reported. The quantum disruption field was like nothing Earth scientists had ever seen. It created a zone where advanced technology simply stopped working. But the Perseverance, with its mechanical systems and chemical rockets, pushed through without trouble. The first close-up views of the alien ships left the human crew speechless. What had looked like smooth silver from a distance was actually covered in intricate patterns that seemed to shift and flow. But now these magnificent vessels hung lifeless in space, their quantum cores as cold and dead as stones. Beginning docking procedure, Mike announced, using manual controls to line up with the alien ship's emergency airlock. The humans had spent hours studying alien schematics, preparing for this moment. They'd even practiced with a hastily built mock-up on Earth. The docking was rough. Human technology wasn't designed to interface with alien ships. But it worked. Tom led his team through the airlock, carrying portable oxygen supplies and emergency equipment. The alien corridor beyond was dark, lit only by their flashlights. Star met them at the entrance, his iridescent skin reflecting their lights in rainbow patterns. "You actually made it," he said through a translator device. "But how will you restart our systems? Your technology is so..." He paused, searching for a diplomatic word. "Simple," Tom suggested with a smile. "That's exactly why we're here. Show us your engine room." The alien engine room was a marvel of engineering, filled with crystalline structures and quantum matrices. But to Tom's trained eye, the basic principles weren't so different from what he knew. Energy was energy, whether you split atoms or manipulated quantum fields. "See this?" Tom pointed to a series of backup systems. "Your quantum core is dead, but these mechanical emergency systems are still working. We can use them as a foundation." What followed was one of the strangest engineering sessions in human history. Tom's team worked with alien engineers, using simple tools and basic physics to create a hybrid system. They bypassed the quantum technology entirely, rerouting power through mechanical systems that the disruption field couldn't affect. "It's not elegant," Tom explained to Star, "but it will keep your life support running. We can't get you home yet, but we can keep your people alive until we figure out how to break through that field." Star watched in amazement as the human team installed backup generators powered by chemical reactions, technology his people had abandoned millennia ago. "We became so focused on advancement," he admitted, "that we forgot the value of simplicity." The first test was successful. Emergency lights flickered on throughout the massive ship, and the ventilation systems hummed to life. It wasn't enough power for propulsion or artificial gravity, but it would keep the alien crew alive. "Signal the other rescue ships," Tom ordered. "Tell them the retrofit works." We can save these people. As the human crew prepared to move on to the next ship, Star stopped Tom. We thought we were so far beyond you, the alien said. But perhaps we have become too dependent on our advanced technology. You humans, you understand machines in a way we have forgotten. Tom smiled as he checked his simple mechanical watch, a family heirloom he preferred over digital displays. Sometimes moving forward means remembering what worked in the past, he said. Now let's go save the rest of your fleet. The rescue mission was far from over, but humanity had proven something important. In a universe of quantum computers and faster-than-light travel, there was still room for nuts, bolts, and human ingenuity. The Global Space Command Center's main screen displayed a giant countdown timer. 48 hours, 13 minutes, and 27 seconds. That's how long the alien fleet had before their life support systems failed completely. Bob Walker, the mission controller, watched as dozens of blips moved across the tactical display. Each one represented a human rescue ship heading toward the stranded fleet. They had managed to save 30 ships in the first 24 hours, but thousands remained. Status report, he called out, his voice tense with exhaustion. The response came from screens around the room. Russian space program has launched another batch of modified Soyuz capsules. Chinese Long March rockets are ready for their next launch. European Space Agency's retrofitted vessels are approaching Sector 7. The rescue operation was the largest coordinated effort in human history. Every spacecraft that could fly had been pressed into service. Museums had been stripped of old spacecraft that could be quickly repaired and launched. In the Kuiper Belt, Captain Tom Miller supervised the growing fleet of rescue ships. His team had refined their retrofit process, but time was still their enemy. Each alien ship took precious hours to stabilize, and they couldn't save everyone at this rate. We need to work faster, Tom muttered, studying the schematics of the alien vessels. That's when he noticed something they'd overlooked. "Get me Star on the comm," he ordered. The alien ambassador's face appeared on his screen. "Captain Miller, we've lost another section in ship 247. The cold is spreading." "Star, these maintenance tunnels running through your ships, they're mechanical, right? No quantum tech." "Correct. They're emergency passages designed to function even without power." Tom's eyes lit up. "And they connect to every major system." When Star confirmed, Tom slammed his hand on the console in excitement. "That's it. We've been doing this the hard way." Instead of retrofitting each ship individually, they could use the maintenance tunnels to connect multiple ships together. Simple mechanical pumps could share air and heat between vessels, buying them precious time. "All rescue ships, new protocol," Tom broadcast. "We're going to chain these ships together. 5 ships to a cluster. Transmitting designs now." The human fleet adapted quickly. Engineers used simple pipes and mechanical pumps to create networks between alien vessels. What had seemed like a disadvantage, the aliens' huge ship size, became an advantage. Each saved ship could help support others. On Earth, Bob watched the efficiency ratings climb. "They're doing it," he whispered. "They're actually doing it." But not everything went smoothly. On ship 342, an emergency seal failed, forcing the rescue team to evacuate an entire section. Ship 567's backup systems wouldn't engage, requiring a complete evacuation of 5,000 aliens to other vessels. The aliens themselves proved remarkably adaptable. Many had never seen mechanical tools before, but they learned quickly. Soon, they were working alongside human engineers, passing wrenches and helping to install primitive but effective backup systems. "It's strange," Star told Tom during a brief rest period. "Our children learn about mechanical engineering in history classes, but none of us have actually used it for generations. Watching your people work, it's like seeing our own past come alive." Time continued to tick down. The combined fleet now formed massive clusters, linked together by a web of tubes and cables. It wasn't pretty, but it was working. The death toll, which everyone had feared would be in the millions, was holding steady at 0. In the final hours, they faced their biggest challenge. The largest alien ship, carrying over 100,000 passengers, began losing pressure faster than expected. Its size made it impossible to evacuate in time. Tom led the response himself. His team worked nonstop, installing massive air circulators salvaged from Earth's old space stations. They ran steel cables through maintenance tunnels, literally stitching the failing sections together. With just 30 minutes left on the clock, the last emergency system came online. The great ship's life support stabilized, its passengers safe. Bob Walker stared at his display in disbelief as the reports came in. They had done it. Every alien ship now had functioning life support, either through direct retrofitting or by being connected to working systems. The cost had been enormous. Earth had launched nearly every space-worthy vessel it possessed. But as the clock finally hit zero, not a single alien life had been lost. Star's message to Earth was brief but heartfelt. You have shown us that true advancement isn't about having the most sophisticated technology. It's about never forgetting your foundations. The view from the International Space Station was unlike anything humans had ever seen. Thousands of alien ships clustered together, connected by a vast network of tubes and cables that looked like a giant metal spider web stretching across space. Inside the makeshift command center on the station, Commander Bill Roberts coordinated the largest evacuation in history. Status on Ship Cluster 17. He asked, his eyes fixed on the holographic display. Life support critical in the main vessel, reported his assistant. We need to move 10,000 aliens in the next hour. The evacuation had become necessary when they discovered that some of the alien ships couldn't be stabilized. Their quantum cores had been too badly damaged by the disruption field. The only solution was to move their crews to safer vessels. Earth had sent every working spacecraft it had. Old space shuttles flew alongside Russian Soyuz capsules and Chinese Long March craft. Even private space companies had joined in, their cargo ships modified to carry passengers. Incoming transport from Ship 455, called out a controller. Through the station's window, they could see one of the modified Earth vessels approaching. Its hull had been stretched to nearly twice its original length to accommodate the tall alien passengers. The aliens themselves had proven to be remarkable passengers. Despite their advanced civilization, they showed no pride or reluctance in boarding humanity's primitive vessels. They seemed genuinely grateful, often bowing to their human rescuers in their own cultural gesture of respect. Star, now working closely with the human command team, helped coordinate his people's movements. Our children will tell stories of this day, he said, watching another group of his people board an old Russian spacecraft. How the youngest civilization we know saved the oldest. The evacuation ships worked in continuous shifts. As soon as one group was safely transferred, they headed back for more. The human pilots pushed themselves to their limits, many working 20 hours straight before being forced to rest. One of these pilots, Lisa Brown, had just finished her 15th run when she spotted trouble. Command, we have a problem on Ship 891. Their connection tubes are freezing. Bill immediately diverted 3 rescue ships to the location. They arrived to find the emergency tubes between ships crystallizing in the cold of space. If they shattered, thousands of aliens would be exposed to vacuum. We can't wait for a proper fix, Lisa radioed. Permission to attempt emergency extraction. Granted, Bill replied, knowing the risk she was taking. But be careful, Brown. Lisa maneuvered her ship closer than was considered safe. Using the craft's robotic arm, she managed to attach directly to the alien ship's emergency airlock. The next 20 minutes were a blur of activity as aliens rushed through the connection, many carrying only what they could hold in their arms. The last alien had barely made it through when the tubes finally gave way, shattering into frozen shards that sparkled in the distant sunlight. Back at command, Bill watched the evacuation numbers steadily rise. They had moved over 1 million aliens so far, but many more remained. The rescued aliens were being distributed among the stable ships, sharing space with their own people in increasingly crowded but safe conditions. Remarkable. Star commented, watching the constant flow of Earth ships. Your vessels are so small compared to ours, yet you persist. Like watching worker insects move a mountain, grain by grain. Bill smiled at the comparison. Sometimes the smallest tools are the best ones for the job. The operation continued around the clock. Earth's ships, despite their age and limitations, proved incredibly reliable. The simple mechanical systems needed minimal maintenance, unlike the complex quantum technology that had failed the aliens. As the final group of critical ships was evacuated, Lisa made one last run. Her ship was carrying a group of alien children who pressed their faces against the windows, watching in wonder as their massive vessels grew smaller behind them. "Why do your ships make that bright fire?" one of them asked through a translator, pointing at the rocket exhaust. "That's how we fly through space," Lisa explained, "using fire and fury instead of quiet quantum engines." The child considered this for a moment. "I like it," it decided. "It looks like you're making new stars." By the time the evacuation was complete, humanity had moved over 2 million aliens to safe ships. Not a single life was lost during the transfers, though several human ships would need serious repairs. Star's final report to Earth was simple but powerful. "Today, you have proven that the greatness of a civilization isn't measured by its technology, but by its heart." With the immediate crisis managed, the human rescue teams and alien crews found themselves with something precious. Time to talk. The massive hibernation bay of Ship 721 had been converted into a meeting space where both species could interact comfortably. Tom Miller sat across from Star, examining a holographic display of the alien empire. Their civilization spanned 3 spiral arms of the galaxy, encompassing thousands of worlds. Yet here they were, drinking coffee from paper cups while discussing the mysteries of the universe. "So you're telling me," Tom said, pointing to his mechanical watch, "that you don't use gears anymore? For anything?" Star's skin rippled with colors that Tom had learned meant amusement. "We haven't needed them for 10,000 years. Everything runs on quantum probability fields and zero-point energy." He paused, looking at the watch. "Though I must admit, there's something beautiful about seeing all the parts work together." In another corner of the room, alien engineers huddled around a dissected combustion engine that humans had brought for demonstration. They were fascinated by its simplicity and reliability. "But what happens if the quantum field collapses?" asked one alien engineer, tapping the engine block. "Like it did here." "That's the beauty of it," explained Mark Wilson, the head mechanic. "It can't collapse. It's just physics. Fuel, air, spark, boom. As long as you have those 4 things, it works." The knowledge exchange went both ways. The aliens shared stories of distant worlds and advanced sciences that humans had only dreamed about. They described cities built in the hearts of gas giants and ships that could fold space itself. But they also revealed something surprising. There were problems they had never solved. "We still can't predict weather accurately," Star admitted. "Our quantum computers can simulate entire galaxies, but weather patterns chaos theory defeats them every time." Tom laughed. "Really? We've been doing that with about 80% accuracy for decades. Sometimes the old math works better than quantum calculations." The aliens were particularly interested in human medicine. Their own medical technology had become so advanced that they'd lost the art of basic surgery. Everything was done with molecular assemblers and quantum field manipulators. "But what do you do when the power fails?" asked an alien medical officer, watching a video of a human heart surgery. "How do you save lives without technology?" Dr. Helen Park smiled. "We use our hands, our knowledge and tools that haven't changed much in centuries. Sometimes the simplest solution is the most reliable." As the days passed, both species found themselves reevaluating their assumptions. The aliens began keeping mechanical backups of critical systems, while humans learned principles of quantum engineering that would revolutionize their technology. In one memorable exchange, an alien child taught a human engineer about quantum mathematics, while the engineer taught the child how to use a slide rule. Both were equally amazed by what the other knew. "Your species is young," Star told Tom during one of their talks, "but you understand something we forgot long ago. You know how to build from the ground up. We've been so focused on advancing that we forgot to maintain our foundations." The aliens shared historical records showing how their civilization had developed. They had followed a different path than humanity, discovering quantum manipulation before mastering basic mechanics. It had shaped their entire approach to technology. "That's why you couldn't solve this crisis yourselves," Tom realized. "You didn't have anything to fall back on when your advanced systems failed." During mealtimes, both species shared their food and stories. The aliens were amazed by simple human foods like bread, which they'd never encountered before. Their own nutrition had evolved into perfectly engineered nutrient solutions. "You mean you grow plants, grind them up, add a living organism to make them expand, and then heat them?" an alien scientist asked, examining a dinner roll. "That's either primitive or genius. I'm not sure which." As the knowledge exchange continued, both species began to understand that they complemented each other perfectly. Humans provided the practical, fundamental approach that the aliens had lost, while the aliens offered glimpses of possibilities humans had never imagined. "Perhaps," Star suggested one evening, "this is why the universe brought us together. Not just so you could save us, but so we could both learn what we were missing." Looking at the mixture of human and alien technology that now kept the fleet alive, it was hard to disagree with that assessment. The breakthrough came during what the humans had started calling coffee time with the aliens. Tom Miller and Star were discussing the nature of the quantum disruption field when Tom spilled his coffee on some old technical drawings. "Wait a minute," Tom said, staring at the coffee stains spreading across the paper. "Star, what if we've been thinking about this field all wrong? What if it's not about technology at all?" Star's skin shifted to a deep blue of curiosity. "What do you mean?" Tom grabbed a marker and started drawing on a clean sheet. "We've been trying to fight the field with technology. But what if we treat it like a natural phenomenon instead? Like a storm or a tide?" The next few hours turned into a frenzy of activity. Human scientists and alien engineers gathered in the makeshift command center, bringing together their different ways of thinking. "The field affects quantum systems," explained Dr. James Reed, Earth's leading physicist on the project. "But it doesn't touch ordinary matter. Why?" The answer came from an unexpected source. Linda Cooper, a nuclear power plant engineer, had been studying the field's energy patterns. "It looks like radiation," she said. "Not exactly, but the way it spreads. It's like watching a reactor's emissions." Star's team quickly confirmed her observation with their own instruments. The field wasn't just disrupting quantum systems, it was feeding on them, growing stronger with each attempt to push through it. "That's why our most powerful ships failed first," Star realized. They were making the field stronger. Tom laid out their options. "We need something that can disrupt the field's pattern without using quantum technology. Something powerful but simple." "What about nuclear fission?" Linda suggested. "It's as basic as you can get, just atoms splitting. No quantum manipulation required." The plan they developed was both brilliant and terrifying. They would create a ring of modified nuclear reactors around the edge of the field, each one carefully tuned to generate specific radiation patterns. "Like using waves to cancel other waves," Tom explained to the emergency council. "The reactors will create an interference pattern that should disrupt the field's structure." Building the reactors was a challenge unlike any before. Humans provided the basic technology and knowledge of nuclear physics, while the aliens contributed their advanced understanding of field theory and containment. "I never thought I'd see my people building atomic piles," Star commented, watching teams assemble the first reactor. "We haven't used nuclear fission since before we achieved spaceflight." The work was dangerous. The reactors had to be positioned perfectly, and one mistake could doom the entire project. Every worker wore old-fashioned radiation suits. Alien protective technology couldn't be trusted near the field. After 3 days of non-stop work, they were ready. 20 reactors floated in space, arranged in a precise circle around the edge of the disruption field. Each one was essentially a simplified nuclear power plant, stripped down to its most basic components. "All reactors report ready," Linda announced from her control station. "Monitoring systems are in place." Tom looked at Star, who nodded. "Begin the sequence." One by one, the reactors powered up. Their radiation patterns, carefully calculated and tuned, began to interact with the quantum disruption field. At first, nothing seemed to happen. "Power levels at 25%, Linda reported. "Field strength unchanged." They increased power. The space between the reactors began to shimmer, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. 50% power, field showing first signs of destabilization. At 75% power, their instruments detected a change. The disruption field's edges were wavering, its grip on the alien ships beginning to weaken. "This is it," Tom said. "Take us to full power." The reactors reached maximum output. For a moment, space itself seemed to bend between them. Then, with a flash of light that their instruments barely registered, the quantum disruption field collapsed. Throughout the alien fleet, quantum cores began humming back to life. Systems that had been dead for days reactivated. The aliens' advanced technology was working again. Star's skin blazed with colors of joy. "You did it. You actually did it." "We did it," Tom corrected him. "Human and alien, working together." As they watched the alien ships power up one by one, Linda smiled. "Sometimes the best way to solve an advanced problem is to take a step backward and use the basics." Star agreed. "A lesson my people won't soon forget." 1 week after breaking the disruption field, the alien fleet hovered at the edge of Earth's solar system, preparing for departure. Their massive ships, now fully powered, gleamed with restored energy. But they were different from before. Each vessel now carried both quantum technology and mechanical backup systems, a fusion of both civilizations' knowledge. In the main conference room of the flagship, human and alien leaders gathered for the farewell ceremony. The room buzzed with conversation as representatives from both species discussed the future. "Before we leave," Star announced, his skin glowing with formal colors, "we have an important proposal for Earth." Tom Miller stood with the other human representatives, watching as Star activated a holographic display of the galaxy. Thousands of points of light represented the worlds of the alien coalition. "For millennia, our civilization has grown through the stars," Star began. "We've met many species, made many allies, but never have we encountered a people quite like humans." The display zoomed in on Earth's solar system, highlighting it in bright gold. "Your solution to our crisis proved something we had forgotten. That true wisdom comes from understanding both the complex and the simple. Therefore, we invite Earth to join our galactic coalition, not as junior members, but as equals." The human delegates exchanged shocked looks. They had expected some form of thanks, but this was far more than anyone had imagined. Furthermore, Star continued, "We request the humans take on a special role within our coalition. We want you to be our problem solvers, our innovators, our teachers of forgotten wisdom." President Maria Garcia, speaking for Earth, stepped forward. "We would be honored. But surely your civilization has its own problem solvers." Star's skin rippled with amusement. "We have experts in quantum physics, yes, masters of technologies you haven't dreamed of. But you humans have something unique. You understand the foundations. You know how to work with both the primitive and the advanced, and most importantly, you know when to use each." The formal agreement was signed using both digital quantum signatures and old-fashioned ink on paper, a symbolic gesture that made everyone smile. As the ceremony concluded, Tom found himself looking out a viewport at Earth, a small blue marble in the distance. "What happens now?" he asked Star. "Now, we begin sharing knowledge properly. We'll leave some ships here to establish proper diplomatic channels, and we'll need human teachers, many of them." My people have already started requesting instruction in mechanical engineering, basic medicine, and something called analog electronics. The next few hours were filled with goodbyes and promises of future meetings. Earth would send representatives to the alien coalition's worlds, while alien diplomats would remain on Earth. The exchange of knowledge and culture would begin immediately. Oh, Star added, almost as an afterthought, we should warn you. Once word spreads about how humans solved our crisis, you'll likely have ships from across the galaxy visiting Earth, seeking to learn your primitive wisdom. Tom laughed. From obsolete to in demand in just 2 weeks. Not bad. As the alien fleet prepared to depart, they put on one final display. Their ships, now fully functional, created a spectacular light show in space, a thank you visible from Earth's surface. Back in the Global Space Command Center, Bob Walker watched the main screen as the alien ships began to vanish into quantum space, leaving behind a small diplomatic fleet. Message from Star, sir, his assistant reported. It says, "Thank you for teaching us that moving forward sometimes means remembering where you came from." The human race had changed forever. They were no longer alone in the universe. More importantly, they had found their place in it, not just as another spacefaring species, but as teachers, problem solvers, and guardians of fundamental wisdom. As the last alien ship disappeared, Tom looked at his old mechanical watch, the one that had so fascinated Star. It had kept perfect time throughout the entire crisis, its simple gears turning steadily even when the most advanced technology had failed. Sometimes, he murmured, the old ways are the best ways. Earth began its preparations for its new role in the galaxy. Universities started developing courses in fundamental engineering for advanced civilizations. Space agencies planned expansions to handle increased traffic. And everywhere, people looked up at the stars with new understanding. They were no longer just lights in the sky, but bridges to humanity's future. The age of human innovation had begun, and the galaxy would never be quite the same.